There he goes, up the hill. Yep. There's the potential winner of this entire series, John D. Welcome, everybody. This is round 6 of the GT2 League, and tonight we are at Mount Panorama near Bathurst. Points to note, I said near Bathurst, and this is Mount Panorama, not this is Bathurst. We'll talk about that later. Number 2 for tonight with me, absolutely really chuffed to spend some time with him doing some commentary for you, and that's D-Bug. D-Bug, how are you, mate?
Hello. I'm good, cheers, mate. How are you? It's
bloody marvellous, and really looking forward to tonight, to be honest.
It'll be a close one, isn't it? We were just discussing this.
We absolutely were, and maybe you can lead on a conversation once we've opened up and started getting things going with regards to the current situation with scores. But I said right at the very beginning, watch out for that man there, John D. We'll be looking closely for him tonight, as we will do for RWB Helmet, who is currently looking for his helmet. That's right, he's lost his helmet. He's not sure where it is, so he's running around trying to find his helmet at this precise moment in time. But we'll pop that onto Auto Director just while we familiarise ourselves with what is the situation. Well, as I said, this is the 6th round of the GT2 League. You know, we started off way back, you know, towards the end of November. Road America, Twin Ring, Motegi, or Motegi, whichever part of the country you come from, Scone and Scone. Slovakia Ring, Dubai Grand Prix, then of course last week Nurburgring, and the final round, which is fairly close up at the top, D-Bug will run us through that later, is here of course at Mount Panorama near Bathurst. 3 Ks actually from Bathurst City, New South Wales, Australia. 2.5 hours west of Sydney. Infamous track this, absolutely marvellous. And a real challenge. 3.86 miles, 6.2 kilometres, 23 bends, oblique corners around this track. 11 of those are left, 12 are right, 2 90 lefts on this track. And as we're just watching Justin Madley now come down the S's, 2 long straights. You've got Mountain Straight, 0.68 miles, 1.1k, and Conrod Straight, as we see Justin Madley now going into Conrod Straight, 1.2 miles long, 1.9 kilometres, and it used to be significantly longer than that, but it was actually reduced in size as we ride with Justin Madley, reduced in size and put this section in, the Chase, and that was in order for Mount Panorama to comply with World Touring Car Championship regulations of length of the distance for any straights. 2 elbows, the cutting, which is at the side of the mountain, and the forest elbow, which is just at the very beginning of Conrod Straight. Now, why are they called elbows? Now, D-Bug, question for you, old boy, what's a parabolica?
It's one of those semicircle type corners, isn't it?
Well, I would say, TK would say, same in, same out. Speed would say, same in, same out. If you're from the south, like me, and a bit of a driveler, then you'd say, well, it's a corner of equal radius. But that is the correct definition of a parabolica, a corner of equal radius. But we've got no parabolicas on this circuit. What we have got is 2 elbows. We've got an elbow at the cutting, and we'll see that when we follow one of these drivers around, one of these racers around. And we've got an elbow at Forest elbow, and the definition of an elbow is almost like a hairpin. The entry and exit are at oblique angles, and it's usually there's been an elevation change, so it's not flat. And if it's flat, if the entry and exit is on the same level, that is a hairpin. That is what defines a hairpin. An elbow, however, is on an elevation. So there you go. So an elbow is a hairpin that has elevation changes on the entry and exit. See, every day is a school day, D-Bug. Every day is a school day.
I'll forget again.
I know. 1S's section, 15 name locations, which hopefully we'll get a chance to zip you around in a minute. And the lowest, highest point, and let's jump in someone with, in fact, let's jump in with Bean. And the highest point, as we're now with being just coming along Mountain Straight, the highest point is 570 feet or 174 metres, and the climb into the mountain starts now, down Mountain Straight, into the first corner, Quarry Bend, nice and tight on the inside as we watch Bean there, tyres a little bit cold, into Quarry Bend, and now we start to go into the cutting, which begins on this immediate kink here, into third properly, into second, around the cutting here, into Griffin's Mount, just here now, named after the mayor, Martin Griffin, who opened the track up in 1938, round into Reed Park, this corner here, Solomon Park, now into McPhillamy Park, all the way on the right hand side here, infamous in real life, this is where all the campers camp out. All this area here is known as well, it's the whole area through the S's. The whole area is actually a dedicated area to Peter Brock. We'll talk more about him later on. Through the S's then, down into the Dipper, and into Forest Elbow. Forest Elbow, as we can see there, is very clearly a hairpin, but there is an elevation change on the entry and exit, and now we're on to the infamous Conrod Straight. The V8 cars, debug, will reach up to 300 kilometres an hour down here, about 186 miles an hour. How fast are these boys going to be going down here? We can see that on the screen.
He's lifted.
You can imagine that in real life, but it's absolutely terrifying.
Especially coming up to this corner here, you've got to be
Yes.
right on the brakes right, or you'll continue straight on.
And there's a little bit of a crest there on the chase, so I'm assuming that you're going to, the weight balance is going to change on the car into Murray's corner now, back onto the actually not start-finish straight. This is the finish straight. The start of this circuit is actually just behind Murray's corner as we now go into Hell Corner. And there we go. There is one lap of Mount Panorama. Just going back to what you said earlier, Debug, about going into the chase at the end of Conrod Straight, and you said you've got to watch that corner there. Is that because of the sort of weight shift and the braking, etc., on the apex, or not the apex, but there's a crest there, isn't there?
Yeah, I think it's a couple of things, because it depends if you're following a car as well, because you're always trying to outbrake the car in front of you, and you're always trying to, or if you're being chased, you're trying to do the same thing, outbrake the car behind you. So I've been caught out by it so many times in the past, where I've either been on the left-hand side where I need to be on the right. So it's just placement really, and it's learning that if you're in the wrong place, or as I said, you brake too late, the car can get all sorts of out of shape, and then you do either end up, 9 times out of 10 you just end up going straight ahead, and then you've got to try and rejoin the track safely. So yes, it can really cost you time.
Wow. Okay, well, we'll be looking out for that. Hey, why don't you spend a couple of minutes, if you would, and just talk to us about the current standings with regard to the championship. This is the last of this 6-round league, and I believe the sort of standings at the minute are a bit, not contentious, but fairly close, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a bit of a weird one, ladies and gents, because we've got, at the moment, we've got Jake Moore in first, second Brandon Dove, and third Helmet. Now, Jake Moore and Brandon are on a different event tonight, and Jake's at 181 points and Brandon's 179 points. So Helmet is 158 points. So what me and Tiger were discussing earlier on is Helmet needs to win this race tonight, or so does John D, to be able to get first position. Now, if either Helmet or John D, which are third and fourth, if they don't get full points tonight, it's going to be very difficult for them to beat Jake Moore for the championship. So it's going to be, they're going to have to both play a pretty sensible game tonight. I've been looking at the timings already, and Helmet's slightly down on John's times, so whether that'll change in qualifying. But going down the order after that, you've got C. Sammy in 5th in the championship, which isn't racing tonight. Jorgen 6th, Pinpoint 7th, Beans in 8th, FX 9th, and a surprise is Rigel down in 10th, but I don't think he's been doing all the races. I think he's missed a few out. I won't go through all of them time-wise, but basically we are looking at two main guys tonight and seeing what their strategies will be. Both great racers, and I think it'll be quite interesting.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And thanks for that. That was a good rundown. Undoubtedly, we will be revisiting that throughout the race with regards to the points that they could possibly be awarded. A quick reminder of you, if you come first, 45, second, 42, third, 40, and as Debug said, it's quite tight between Helmet and John D as a result of Speed Demon and Brandon Dove in the 24-hour race. And the quick one on that, they're on the 24-hour race, actually around Daytona. They're 10 hours and 36 minutes at the minute into that race. That's CSAM, Brandon Dove, Hayden McLaren and Speed Demon. Of course, we wish them well. They're currently running in 4th place in the GT3 class in the AMG, and they've got, what, 16 hours and 16 minutes left. So, you know, we'll give you an update throughout the race, although by the time you watch it, it'll be retrospective. But for those of you who are watching the stream, we'll give you that. We'll give you those updates. But you probably got that. Oh, there's Brandon goes a little bit wide. Oh, he's hit the wall. No, I'm only joking. He hasn't hit the wall at all. Right. Okay. So
he could have done now, though.
Absolutely. Okay then. All right. So wow. Let's have a quick rundown then. 8 minutes and 46 seconds left of qualifying. John D currently up in first place there. Debug 2:02.775. His nemesis being crikey, it's Helmet, really, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't think Helmet's had a good previous lap. 2:03.728. Saying that, I was talking to Rodders earlier on, who's out there in the Corvette, and he was saying that on hard tyres, crikey, these cars really are suffering with the braking. They really don't like braking and carrying the speed through. And I've just noticed that the tyres now, the majority are on softs.
Right. Yeah. Apart from Menacing Skull, he's on hards at the moment.
Yeah, Menacing Skull is on hard at the minute. There he is there, old Menacing Skull. RWB Arch Nemesis. You know what Nemesis is, Debug? Do you know what Nemesis is?
Are you going to tell me a quote from that film?
Yeah, it's a righteous infliction of retribution manifested through an appropriate agent. In this case, an horrible.
Yeah.
Pigs is all. Right, stop there, Tiger. Before you start doing the whole bloody. Yeah, it is. Or is it Lockstock? I can't bloody remember anyone. Too old.
I'm sure it's Snatch.
Anyway, so yeah, Menacing Skull is the only one out there on hards. So be interesting to see whether actually he's chosen right or not. Now Rodders at the minute. Rodders running in the league. Now where is Rodders in the league? Well, let's have a look. He's down in 17th. Very unusual. Now, why is this? Why is this rhetorical question? Why are we seeing such a, not a shift, but why are we seeing things really being mixed up amongst these guys out there? And I'll tell you why. It's called the B word, and it's not bullshit, it's ballast. There's ballast out there, and the faster you are, essentially, the more ballast you've got. Let's not be scientific about it. Now, Speed Demon, clearly his name, Rodders just holds it together there, but Speed Demon has got a formula to work out ballast. And it's very simple. It's not difficult. It's just the perimeter of your house divided by how much money you've got, times by the amount of laps you've done in reverse gear only between the hours of 1 o'clock in the morning and 3 o'clock in the afternoon around Bathurst, times by the amount of wheels and tyres that you've got, divided by the amount of pit stops you do, equals the ballast you carry. That's how he's worked it out.
Pretty good.
Come back in the room, Debug. Don't leave
I
me
am
alone.
back in the room. Do you know what?
Don't leave me alone on this.
I was just watching Helmet and John D. Helmet's just posted a new time, and he's less than half a second behind John D. So I was just focusing on those guys at the moment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think Helmet had a bit of a bad lap before. Let's not write this guy off here, Mark Bean, either. He could win this race, and he is doing well. He's up there second at the minute. He's .083, so you know he's 800ths behind. 800ths, yeah, tenths, hundreds, yeah. So he's 800ths, 800ths, 8 tenths.
He's quick and he's consistent, but sometimes I just tend to see that Beanie can sometimes just unfortunately, I don't know, miss a trick or let a mistake happen. I think that's his worst enemy sometimes.
He popped in the channel earlier on. We had a quick chat, and I said, "How do you think about tonight?" He goes, "Well, I want to win it. I'm out to win it." You know, ever the dry bus driver, isn't he? Old Beanie.
He's quality. He did that on the 3-hour one as well. I'm going to win it.
I'm going to win it. He says that in the same tone as you saying, "Can I have a ticket to Victoria, please?" 45p. That's how he talks. Lovely guy. Anyway, so yeah, watch out for him, Mark Bean tonight. You know he's super quick. There's no question about that, and consistent. But as you heard, Debug says sometimes he falls off the track, and when that happens, it all goes horribly wrong. John D out in front. Mark Bean currently second. Helmet out there in third. We need to be watching out for him. Jorgen Walby out there in fourth place. In fifth place, FX currently, who's in the pits. Rigel out there currently posting a 7th place time. Pinpoint in the BM out there with an 8th place time. 9th place with a 9th place time in the Chrysler. Don't write that Chrysler off. The legs on that is quite extraordinary, as we saw at Nurburgring. And on long straights like Mountain and Conrod Straight, you're going to see them Chryslers really closing the gap of that, I assure you. Madley out there posting a 10th place timing in the BM. Rick Binnersley, 11th place, or 11th place, just posted there. 11th place in the BM. 12th place, Flack. 13th place, Miko Intenza, again in the Chrysler. Like I said, Chrysler, it was the Cadillac, isn't it? Pretty much same company actually. Charger out there, just sitting there. Beer is out there now in the P345. His time that he posted was a 2:06.061, enough for 15th place. Ben Davis, my teammate for the next race, the next set of leagues, DTM 2016. Last time you saw Ben Davis, RWB Orange, he was up my chuff around Imola. And I had some great little battles with him. Well, we're teaming up now, and we're going to be our team buddies for DTM 2016. RWB Fruity Tigers, Debug. That's what he's named our team, Fruity Tigers.
Is he still using his wheel, or is he back to a controller? Or
he's actually ditched it, mate. He's actually using a wheel now, and he's not as fast. He said he's not as fast or as confident, but he knows that for sustainability. And by that I mean that you get a bit older and the thumbs aren't quite so dexterous. That a natural move is into the steering wheel. So he's moved to the steering wheel. So he's got the track knowledge and the ability to race, but of course now he's almost really starting from scratch again, as we see him now cut grass. Yeah, there it is, and exactly what you said earlier, isn't it?
Do you know what? Time will get there, though. Yeah, that's all it takes. I mean, I was away from the club for 2 years, and I went from being up the top to midfield now. So it just takes time.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And you know what? Don't. This is a general point to anyone out there, either watching later after we've done this, or tonight, or whatever. But don't discount getting better by osmosis, and by that I mean sim racing osmosis. Just being around these guys, or watching them race, or watching the streams, or jumping in with old race with them, you will get quicker. And I will put my hand up to that. Past few nights I've been jumping in public lobbies on ACC and a few other bits and pieces. Full grids, 36 cars. Go out there, do one lap, and I qualify in the top 5 or top 10. Whereas previously, there's no way I would have been up there, and very happily holding my own. It's amazing what happens when you're amongst people that concentrate and give real time and dedication to sim racing.
Absolutely.
You will get faster by racing with them. You won't be as fast as them, unlikely, but you will certainly get better. All right, well, look, we got 30 seconds left to qualifying before we go into the first race. I'm really, really looking forward to this. Now, look, just before we do that, the John D has maintained first place. Mark Bean second, Rodders third now, who just posted a 2:02.9. Actually, unless that...
He did that when you were you were going down the timing.
Oh, really?
Right. Yeah, he snuck one in.
Well, he snuck one in, yeah. Well, good for him. Hey, now another one. Why are we not racing the roughs tonight? Do you know why we're not racing the roughs tonight, Debug, the Porsches?
Go on.
We're not racing the Porsches tonight, and I know that S3S are aware of it, and that is because there is a clipping issue with the rough model, and if you just touch the walls, you'll get sucked in and you won't be able to come back out and lose a quarter of the car into a wall. So I'm afraid no roughs, and these guys have had to choose another car essentially for this last round. But there's nothing you can do about it, and it was what a wise decision by the event organisers to pull the Porsche Rough 12, I think it's the 12R, out of this race, so that there wasn't going to be an issue when it came down to cars clipping walls and so on. As I said, the difficulty was he couldn't reverse out, so it's a potential nightmare.
Yeah, just to mention, Pinpoint, he snuck a fourth, and I spoke to Pinpoint before racing today, and he actually said he was running the same setup he used in Imola, but just a slightly different gearing. So whatever, it must be working for him because he's there in fourth.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not surprising to me though. First, third, fifth, seventh are the Corvettes. The Corvettes are the ones with the legs. And now that's not my assessment. That's because I can't drive them, to be honest with you. I mean, they're just monsters. I'm just too heavy on the right foot debug. It just spins out on me. Perhaps it's a car actually I should embrace and learn to drive because of that. But the guys were saying that the legs on these bloody American monsters are just very impressive. And whilst around Bathurst they suffer with the tyre issue and the sort of braking issue, they make up for it along these long straights.
It's not because you drive an Audi or anything. That's not.
I think it is. I think it is. They say if you're a car lover, you drive a BMW. They say if you're a car lover but want to keep the car and have lower insurance, drive an Audi. Yeah.
I've not heard that one. That's because I drive Jap crap, so.
Oh, well, there you go. No, German all the way for me, I'm afraid. Now, look, we've got 2.5 minutes left of qualifying. We mentioned a little bit about the track. We've given you the sit rep of the track. We're taking you around, told you the corners and stuff. Mount Panorama. Oh, crikey, yeah, FX. Keep it. Oi, 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 oi. I wonder if they cause damage to the car during warm-up and they go back, whether it will be repaired. I think it is. Reminder that they have got to do one mandatory pit stop. They have got to change their tyres. Damages on limited visual flag rules only. Any cuts that they have, they will get a slowdown for. Now we won't see that on the race director that myself and Debug are seeing. So if you see it afterwards on the stream, which you will be able to see it on there, or on the YouTube, you should be able to see it on there on the YouTube. But we don't get to see that, so we will have to either assess or not. We won't know if they get any cut rules. There's ballast out there, and we'll bring that sort of info and data to you as the race goes on. And we've got a reference sheet here that we can quickly look at. Cool. So everyone's having their last cup of tea, aren't they?
Yeah, just a shout out as well to YouTubers tonight. I will be looking on the commentary section on the YouTube channel, so fire some questions away and we'll try and answer.
Absolutely, yeah. Engage, be involved, promote. It's everyone's responsibility to, and implied responsibility. If there are RWB members out there that are playing Red Dead Redemption or floating around Steam, get off and come along and have a look at your mates, racing around. 17 runners out there tonight. A reminder, this is the last one. Next week, we'll talk more about this later, but a new league, DTM 2016. I'm so looking forward to that, Debug.
I know, I can't wait. Especially racing with Sammy.
Yep. And do you know what? Within, I think it was about 30 minutes of that league opening up, all 36 slots were taken up, which is quite extraordinary. Does that mean that you can't enroll in that at the minute? No, it doesn't. It means that you can still come along. If you're not an RW member, if you're not a member of RWB, then come along and post a note in our Discord. See whether you can get in there. There's plenty of reserve slots. And who knows, going forward, because of the popularity of some of these car classes, the honchos may well decide to run a double league. Who knows? But don't not say that you want to be involved just because all the slots have been taken up. That's such a shame. So make it known you want to be involved. Cool, look, end of warm-up there as Miko Intenza there, now Friendly Forces. Friendly Forces, RWB member now. When I first come across him, he was a bit of a knob, reversing down a pit lane, and I called him out on the stream and electronically said, I'll meet you behind the bike sheds. But, you know, he's an RWB brother now, and that's great. Look forward to seeing him race out there. Cool.
Oof. I always get nervous just seeing this bit. I don't know why.
I was so excited. I'm such a fucking nerd.
So it's the ones at the front to watch, really. And Helmet has got pinners to contend with, and pinners is not easy to get past. So that's going to be a good one to watch, I reckon.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, there they are, all on the track now, 17 cars. We've got John D in first, Mark Bean and Rodders, and we're looking at Miko Intenzo. Let's now look at John D, currently running in first place, and they're away now. And it looks like Mark Bean actually has had a really great start there. Coming into the first corner, Hell's Corner. And Mark Bean, let's look on the wing of Mark Bean if we can. Come on. There we go. So we're looking right behind Pinpoint. It's gone in front of John D, just exactly as you said. All the way down the mountain straight. Wow, crikey, crikey, crikey. Let's go on the wing with somebody now. Bosch. In cockpit now with Mark Bean, coming up into Quarry. Into Quarry. Does he keep it? Yes, he does. Of course he bloody does. And they're all going to make it all the way through. That's good. Good, 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 good. Up into the cut-in. Called so because, of course, it cuts into the mountain. Mark Bean now through into Griffin's Mount. Turning right now into Reed Park. All the way along here is where the old spectators camp, as I said earlier on, all the way along the right-hand side now.
Pinpoint ain't giving him an inch, is he? He's right.
Not an inch at all. Through Brock Skyline. All this area is called Brock Skyline, you know, to the famous King of the Mountain, Peter Brock. Winner in real life 9 times of Mount Panorama, the Bathurst 1000. You know, a legend, essentially. You know, if you know anything about Mount Panorama or Australian V8 supercars, but you've never heard of the word Peter, or never heard of the great man Peter Brock, you need to take yourself off and have a chat with a hammer. Down Conrod Straight now, on the wing then with Mark Bean, looking back to Pinpoint in second place, looking back now to John D on the Corvette. In cockpit with John D, you can see John D, the legs of the Corvette. Pinner's just moving over to the right hand side saying, you're not getting my slipstream. Does he challenge coming into the chase? No. First lap. Come on, there are no heroes for first lap. It's a long 1 hour. But great start for Pinners, as you said, D-Bug. He certainly made advantage of the BM's grip there on the start. But, you know, we're just coming into another area, aren't we? Mountain Straight, where that Corvette really does close the gap.
Absolutely. It looks like Rodders has potentially got a bit of fun behind him as well. He's got a train behind him.
He has, yeah.
Dying to get past him right now because he knows what he needs to do. And that's with Rigel as well. And I think there could be something like the race director, because when you go on the back of the wing, I just see the front of a car.
Oh dear, dear. Yeah. Crikey, right. Okay, well, we're now on Rodders. We're looking on the TV of Rodders as he goes around Quarry Bend now, up towards the cut-in. Up at the front there, Mark Bean still in first place, going around the cut-in now. Behind him, Pinners. Behind him, John D. These three now are almost moving away at their own pace, almost a separate, you know, almost a separate sort of group. Just now coming through Silman Park into McPhillamy, and then along what is known as the Skyline, all the way along here. In real life, these walls here are just adorned with messages to the great Peter Brock, the King of the Mountain, all the way through, down through the S's, down through the Dipper, and right into Forest Elbow. The walls all the way along here, Debug, are full of real life messages of adornment to Peter Brock, which is quite some testament to the effect that he had through many, well, I say many generations. The guy wasn't an ancient druid or anything, but certainly over a couple of generations of, few generations of fans of V8 supercars in Australia.
Yeah, I was just having a look. Do you know what? John D's riding on the hard tyre at the moment, and Rodders, which is struggling to keep the lads behind him, he's on soft. So you got Helmet, Jorgen, Rigel, they're all on hards, but Rodders in front of them is running on the soft tyre. So that's going to be really interesting to see if it's changed. If it's changed the tables here for.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Rodders mentioned this earlier on, actually. He said, God, these cars on the hards are awful. Now, when they come in for the pits, they've got to change their tyres, and they've got to change compound as well. So those are on softs at the minute, they will end up going on to hards, and those are on hards will end up going to softs. So, but absolutely, yeah, I think you're onto something there. Going out there on the softs first is something that is clearly a strategic advantage, I think, personally. Just seeing Rodders there almost challenging John D. I don't think he'll challenge coming into Quarry, surely not. No, and riding with Rodders now.
Spoke too soon.
yeah, quite, yeah. Riding with Rodders into the Quarry then. Let's ride with Rodders for a little while, then we'll then perhaps you could take us through the field and just give us an update on where everyone is. You have control of race director for that. So riding with Rodders then, just coming into what is now essentially Solman Park, just around here, actually in real life, also known as... Oh! John D getting out of shape, and Rodders is going to take the advantage now, surely. On the inside of McPhillamy now, coming along the skyline, he's got it. John D has gone off into the right-hander now, down into the S's. John D will be kicking himself, Rodders will be chuckling, into the dipper, and now into... down towards the last section of the S's towards Forest's elbow. That's now Rodders gone up into third place. John D, however, I don't think there's too much damage caused. I think he just had a little bit of a. I think he just had a little bit of bodywork damage. I think, if anything.
He'll have some dirt on his tyres, so he might get a bit of action behind him as well.
Yes. So, there we go then, coming into the chase now. Mark Bean out of the chase and along towards Murray's Corner. Behind him, Pinpoint in second place, the BM, and Rodders now through the chase in the Corvette. Debug, over to you.
Okay, so moving along the line, we'll go with fifth. We've currently got Helmet down in fifth. He's averaging 2:05 at the moment on his lap time, so he's not doing too bad. Jorgen is behind him in sixth place in the BMW. He's been doing pretty good so far. I didn't really think about Jorgen and how much of an impact he could have, but he's definitely going to be there. Audi behind him in seventh, not really making too much of an impact on the race so far. Behind him in eighth position, we've got Rigel. Now, Rigel is being pressured at the moment by FX UK, which is currently in ninth. Again, it could be they're both running hard compounds, so they could both be struggling at this kind of session time in the race. Brakes have heated up, tyres have heated up, and obviously being the track we're on, it's going to be nothing but heat and hot outside as well. Justin Madley currently riding in 10th position. Rick Binnisley behind him in 11th. RWB Miko, I think that's his name. I can never pronounce it properly. But he's running currently in 12th in the Caddy. Ben Davis is in 13th. Beer, we've got in 14th position. Behind him, we've got the old boy Charger. He's got Flack on his tail in 16th. And behind them, we've got Menacing Skull. He's just having a nice little chilled out race, to be honest. Back to you, Tiger.
Wonderful. I was just looking at so many screens open, it's like BBC here, even though it's not. So this is RWB, not BBC, Channel 3, ITV or any of the others, but I do feel a bit like BBC. I was just looking at the ballast there. Rodders is carrying 64 kilos. There was a menacing skull on the near side there, just hits towards the exit of the S's. But yeah, so Rodders is carrying 64 kilos on him. Which is a fair amount, but that's testament to the ability of the guy. I mean, Rodders is one of the certainly I would say probably one of the top 3, top 4 fastest racers in RWB, no question about that. And he's carrying 64 kilos out there. Now earlier on we said that there's no Speed Demon, there's no CSAM, there's no Brandon Dove, and there's no Hayden McLaren. Or I don't think Hayden McLaren is in this league. Because they're running the 24 hours. And a quick update for you right now, and that is that CSAM is currently on his slot. They're 11 hours and 1 minute in. They've got 15 hours and 52 minutes left. CSAM is on his stint, and he's currently running in 6th place. And good luck to them. Back to our own race. Yeah. So Mark Bean out there in front now with a 3-second gap to Pinpoint, and it looks like Jürgen Wallbeat there being challenged by Audi. Audi behind that Cadillac, and I'm interested to see the legs on the Audi out of Forest Elbow along the Conrod Straight. I think we'll stay with Audi for that. Let's see the legs of this Cadillac. Do we remember where Audi started?
Position-wise?
Yeah.
I don't off the top of my head. I think it might have been... I'm not too sure, actually.
Well, Audi is the front-running Cadillac. Just coming now out of the S's into Forest Elbow. Let's ride in cockpit with Audi, and let's see the legs on the Cadillac. Like I said, the Cadillac and the Corvette seems these big American cars. Certainly on these long straights, just eat the speed up. Now there's full setups on this. You know, the guys are allowed to set the car up however they want to. We're of course sponsored by Racing Sim Tools app, and you know, I strongly advise any of you to have a look at that. I think it's about $15 debug. It's absolutely wonderful. If I'll be honest with you, it's too complicated for me. I've got an IQ of 3. But you only need an IQ of 4 to use it, and thankfully Xerax from Racing Sim Tools will always give you that additional IQ point that you need. So don't be afraid just because what you're looking at doesn't make any sense. It's got some great documentation and always happy to help you. Now, I said to you earlier on, let's watch the legs on this Cadillac, but I didn't see it there along Conrod Straight.
I saw it when you saw the speed difference. He definitely had the speed, but also I think the soft tyres have just definitely played in now. Obviously earlier on the hards and softs look quite equal, but I mean, you look at Bean, Pinpoint, Rodders, all 3 of them soft tyres in front of everyone. Audi's catching. I don't know how Miko's doing, but you know, the rest of them are going hard, so they're probably going to be trying to go fast at the end. So.
Yes. Rodders now challenging Pinpoint. The biggest the biggest time differential we can't ignore between 0.5 a second, 0.3 of a second behind Pinpoint coming into the S's. And Rodders just goes over the curb there. Oh, and someone's gone. I think that's Bean. I just heard. Oh my God. I think it's Terminal. I've just heard in my other ear there's a helicopter en route. There's a helicopter en route.
I heard the screeching of the tyres while we were following Rodders, and then seeing the smoke as well. Instantly, bang.
I hope he's all right. Well, you said, didn't it? You called it. You know, he's very quick, but you know, sometimes, you know, I think it's a little bit unfair for me to say sometimes he can just be a little bit too pushy. Listen, this is Mount Panorama. It catches out the best of us and the best in the real world. Rodders now looking at Pinpoint saying, listen, I'm faster than you and I'm going to eat you up along Mountain Straight. So do yourself a favour. Why don't you just move on over? And Pinners says, well, you want me, you bloody well get past me. You bloody well do, I say. You mug. Fucking look at the visuals. I got a Mondeo.
So it looks like Bean lost the back end coming over that crest. And it's easy to do. I think he must have applied the brakes, lost the back end, sent him into a spin, cracked straight into the wall. Yeah.
Terrible. Pinner's doing a great job out there. Keep your head when most of people will lose theirs with that man behind you. There's no question about that. He can put on a lot of pressure just by being there. Pinner's, though, let's not take anything away from him. He's got significantly more consistent and fast. Certainly over the last, I'd probably say 6 months. But I don't think he's in Rodders' league just quite yet. He will hold his own, but Rodders will take him at some point.
I think Rodders just needs to be...
Oh, unbelievable! What on earth has happened? I think my left aorta is going to collapse debug.
same corner as Bean.
Exactly the same corner. Exactly the same corner. The front runner, Pinpoint, now has basically stuck his fingers up to me in the best way possible by saying, bollocks, have some of that. And Rodders has ended up losing the front wing. Now, the front bumper. And I don't think Rodders is damaged too much. Let's just quickly ride with him now in TV. He's lost the front there. So he's going to lose significant downforce as we see him go straight over at the chase.
No downforce.
Yeah, he's got no downforce on the front there. Is he going to use this time to come in? I'm willing to bet he will as he comes into the pits now. Into the pits, smashed windscreen. Oh dear, he's in damage limitation now. He's not in contention for the league, but that won't stop him coming in, getting out of the car, kicking the tyres, allowing the mechanics to fix it. And whilst they're doing that, he'll have a quick wee dram perhaps before he gets back out there. Let's go and have a look at what the other racers are doing. Flack down in, Flack, what's happening with the race director? Charger coming into the pits.
Just to
Charger
confirm
coming into the pits now.
Just to confirm, Speed Demon, he's commented on YouTube saying, am I reading that right? Pinners is leading. You are.
Pinners
Speed.
is indeed leading, and there he is. Pinners is leading now, coming up into Griffin's Mount, through into Reed Park now, extending around the left-hand side, 4th gear, 5th gear, cutting the apex, cutting the crest, all the way around into Solomon, into McPhillamy, and then all the way along down here along Brock Skyline. And, you know, no one's near him. You know, he's got a good 13.5 seconds behind him. Into the dipper. Keep it calm now. Down the hill now. Into the last section of the S's before we're turning right. And a nice cut just by the K of the Falcon down along to Conrad Straight. And yes, Pinners is leading. And that is great news for him.
I think Charger might have gotten a drive-through because he didn't stay pitted for very long. Rodders is obviously still in the pits at the moment. Beer has been in the pits. I think that's probably been for a change of tyres. But Charger, he mustn't have been in there for long at all. So Rodders has just finally come out of the pits, so he's got a lot of work to do now. Right.
Charger currently running in 14th place. I'll tell you what we're going to do, folks, because I get tired of hearing me. I'm going to go have a quick run through, starting from the rear, and then we'll hand over to Debug for a little while. So, sad, terrible news. Mark Bean is out. Helicopter has taken him away. Thankfully, he's going to live, but apparently they've got to go to agency staff for bus drivers. That's all I know. Rodders, who we saw had that terrible front end smash, the car now repaired. But he's now back down into 16th place. Beer out there in the P45, out there in 15th place. Charger, who we just saw in the Cadillac, just coming around down to the beginning of Conrad Straight in the Cadillac, 14th place. Medicine Skull P45 just along the finish straight there, in 13th place. Flack, great place for Flack, 12th place. Although I'm sure he'd want to be up there a bit higher. Very consistent Flack, if not the fastest out there. He'll just happily keep going all day. He's what you call a rhino. He'll just keep going. Quite a fairly sort of, a quicker pace than slow, put it like that, and he'll just climb up. So out there in the BM in 12th place. Ben Davis, my teammate, orange, in the black P45, just drifting out. Slowly, catch a monkey, orange. Into Reed Park and around into Solomon. He's on 11th place. Rick Binnersley. Rick is out there in 10th place in the BM, and just coming now into the end of what is essentially Skyline into the S's in 10th place. 9th place, Miko Intenza in the Cadillac, our RWB brother from Spain. He's out there in 9th place now, just coming around into the beginning of the Conrad Straight. In 8th place there. There, FX in the Corvette, looking very much similar to that which belongs to Rodders. They've both obviously had a front end smash. Looks like giving way to the brother American car there, and the muscle that is in the Cadillac. FX in 9th place. 8th place, sorry, Miko, sorry, in 8th place. 7th place, Justin Madley, coming in the black and red, same livery as Pinpoint, coming into now the pits. He's currently on hard, so we'll change to softs. John D, significant that John D is in 6th place. We'll cover this when it comes to points, perhaps when I hand over to Debug. But John D now also in the pits. Jorgen Walby in 4th place. Oh, hang on, wait a minute, we've missed Audi. Audi in 5th place. Audi, I don't believe has pitted yet. So Audi out there in 5th place. Jorgen Walby in 4th place. Just looking, sniffing behind Helmet there, but Helmet, out there in 3rd place, around the cutting now. That Corvette, not a scratch on it. So all the time it hasn't got a scratch on it, it's not affected by downforce. Clearly, as we've seen with Rodders and FX, you disrupt the downforce on that Corvette at a peril, because even repairing it probably won't get it back to how it was. 2nd place, Rigel, in the BM there, being chased by Helmet, who we were just looking at, coming at the top of McPhillamy Park into the S's now, into the dipper on the left there, cutting them nice and tight. And Rigel now chasing the man that is the legend, that is Pinpoint, out there on his own. In fact, on wing with Pinpoint, you can't even see anybody. So that is a 2 mile, 1 point, Conrod Straight there is 1.9 kilometres. So essentially you've got a 2 kilometre gap. Let's see Rigel now. Rigel, just going over the, Pinpoint as well in front. He's coming up towards Murray's now, I expect. There he is, coming up towards Murray's corner. Look, perfect. So there you go. So Pinpoint, marvellous. Points to note before I hand over, Debug. Pinners has not pitted yet, and he's on soft tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think this is where Pinners could have a shock to the system. He's had the best of the best at the first stage of the race. What he's going to be experiencing on the second stage is the hards. So he's going to be on hards. Rigel, Helmet, Jorgen, Audi, they're all going to be coming at him. Well, not Audi, actually, because he's on softs as well, but those 3 behind him are going to be coming at him on softs a lot quicker. Luckily, just a quick update as well to everyone. Beans is okay. He's been airlifted. He's okay. He's talking to us. He made a adjustment on his brake balance. He put one to the back, and unfortunately, as he said himself, it was a silly mistake, but it was a mistake which happened, and unfortunately, lost the car on that corner and went into the wall. So he is okay, but I think he's just probably a bit hurt pride-wise. But it happens. It happens. I think Tiger's gone for a quick break. But
No, not at all. No, I just jumped in with Jorgen Walby as I noticed that Jorgen was closing up on Helmet there. Now, I think it's important at this stage we revisit the scores on the doors. I'm looking for John D. John D has pitted, of course. John D is currently running in 11th place. John has now pitted. I don't think Helmet has pitted. So I'm looking at the time differential between Helmet and John D, and it's about, I would say, 46 seconds, something like that.
Yeah.
So Helmet, who really, ideally, needs to finish in front of John D. There is only, there is 12 points between Helmet and John D. So, if Helmet comes off the track and John D finishes, then John D will win the championship, essentially.
Yeah.
Not win the championship. Will win the championship.
Well, he'll definitely be close, yeah, depending on where he comes. What's Helmet doing? I just noticed he slowed down.
Yeah, perhaps he had a slowdown there.
Yeah.
And I think he probably did. Helmet then, back round now for what is essentially lap 12 across the finish line.
Yeah.
Incidentally, you know why they start finish, and it's the only track where it happens actually. The start and finish line are on 2 different parts of the track, and that is because when this track was originally built, it was always an intent to do a 1,000-kilometre race, and as a result of that, if you have the start finish on the same section, then actually is 1,000 1,000 kilometres and 238 metres. So they moved the start point to just up from Murray's Corner in order that actually the start and finish were slightly offset so that it was exactly 1,000 kilometres. Bit of drivel for you.
Okay, I'm just doing a bit of working out right now. So Helmet actually needs to at least finish in 10th to get more points than Speed.
Right.
If he comes 11th, he equals Speed. And I'm just going to do some magic and see what John D needs to get past Helmet.
Yeah, it's yeah, I'm just not clever enough to do the scores. You know, I was that kid that was at the athletics club that used to be when I was a kid, way back in 1820. And I was that kid who used to play darts, and you'd say, do you want to do scoring? And if it was 20 minus 10, I couldn't work it out. So, yeah, thankfully in RWB we've got much cleverer people that can work out these scoring statistics and so forth. All I know is this: right now, that man out there is in first place and will be ecstatic at the possibility that he could well win this. Saying that, he has not pitted yet, and John D has. John D is, you know, looking at it now, you know, significantly behind Pinpoint. Pinpoint has pulled out a huge gap. But we also know the timings are slightly off, so we're going to do a manual. Into Quarry now. Rigel, here's Rigel now, come along mountain straight. 8, 9, 10, 11 on the crest. So we're still looking at about 20 odd seconds. It's certainly not as you're seeing on the screen there, 39 seconds. But Pinpoint now, you know, is well into the top sections of the mountain there. 575, a 1:6 ratio elevation this track has got, which is unique in the entire sort of professional, international and national calendars for tracks, which is unusual.
It's a monster, isn't it? Especially getting the balance of that car right as well, because you're taking it out of balance so much going up and down. Just on what I was talking about earlier on, John D isn't as fortunate. So John D, to overtake Speed tonight, he would have to get at least 4th position, no less.
Right.
So he's got a lot more work to do than Helmet has, to be fair.
Yes. Okay, we need to keep a close eye on that. Absolutely we do. With 32 minutes and 13 seconds left to go of the race, anything can happen. You know, anything can happen. Just in case YouTube want to give us a copyright. Anything can happen. I don't think that sounds anything like her or him or whatever they are. Audi in 4th place, chasing Jürgen Walby through the chase, down the hill towards Murray, just past this bridge, the Armour Bridge, and then you know, the start line is just there. Look, here is the start line, just there. Again, quite unusual. Grid going all the way back there. There's the start there, sorry, and there's the finish there as we go through it. So. Pinners out in 1st, Rigel in 2nd. Let's have a look at where Pinners is now. Going around again. And Audi chasing and challenging Jürgen Walby. I think it's a perfect time. Look at the leads on that Cadillac. Is he going to challenge coming to Quarry? I think he is. Bosch, widescreen shot. Oh, come on, Jürgen. No. Good. All the way around Quarry now. 3rd gear, 4th gear, through the kink there, down into 3rd, a little bit of a dodger brake, into 2nd, nice and tight around the Quarry into Griffins. And up through Reed Park, He
had to play it careful there, didn't he? Because he wasn't quite along, he was almost alongside him, but not fully.
Yeah.
You know.
But Audi just being there now is placing a great deal of pressure on Jürgen. But I have to say, Audi looks slightly wobbly at the back there, where Jürgen seems more planted than my wife's umbrella plant.
Oh, it's
Oh my God, what's happened there? The serial killer has been killed by the top of the S's, but he carries on. He looks more battered than someone from EastEnders. The back end of his car looks smashed in. I'm not sure whether that's affected. and whether that's affected his suspension or anything. But thankfully, that's a front engine car. So, right behind him there, helmet.
It's got to be the dirty air. It's got to be following behind those cars. I mean,
I think so.
I don't know if this game has that kind of physics built into it.
It does.
But
it does. Yeah.
So every single time Rodders did it, he was right behind him, and Audi's just done it as well. And the back end has just gone, no, I can't. So this is going to they're going to have to really think about this, especially when following behind so close.
Yeah. And as they say, hindsight is a wonderful thing. Hindsight is a wonderful thing. Retrospection is even better. But of course, you can't do that. So what can you take away from this if you're watching this back or whatever is the next time you race at Bathurst? Probably not wise to be in the dirty air, especially at the end of what is essentially Skyline, coming out of McPhillamy, Skyline into the S's, where that dip is there. You're into dirty air there, your downforce is significantly affected, I think. And I think that's a fair, intelligent analysis of what's happening there. And especially when you're in a car like the Cadillac, which, let's face it, Debug, is like a brick on wheels.
Yeah.
Whereas that Corvette looks like a scythe. It looks like a scalpel. I don't think that knows what dirty air is. Although saying that, of course, we saw Rodders, did we not? Who just smashed the front end of it in. But now let's see whether helmet now. Bit of a commentator's curse here. God, forgive me, helmet, if this works.
Oh no.
Helmet, maybe not too close there. A little bit of a gap. But no, he's too planted, this fella, both in attitude and in experience. But and a bit of a gap there.
I'm surprised Audi hasn't pitted, if I'm honest with you, because he's got to be suffering a bit of rear downforce issue. And just looking at the car as well. Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, look, he's right on him. Let's watch it.
Yeah, look at the legs of the Cadillac now, significantly more than the Corvette, and you saw that. And that won't be the drive power out of Forest Elbow, that's just the legs on it. I'm willing to bet that through the chase here now, after going through the chase, I think Audi will pit and use this as an opportune moment to change his strategy. Fuck off, Tiger, what do you know?
Oh, that's the other way around.
What do you fucking know, Tiger? Yeah, cheers, Audi, thanks for that. Tosser. Well, actually, probably the other way around, actually. He probably saw helmet going in and think, you know what, actually, yeah, my car's a bit damaged, but the engine's fine. And having gone through the mountain section there, actually, the car's not affected that badly. I'm going to keep going. That's probably what's going on.
Tiger, could you do me a quick favour? Can you just zoom into Bill for a second?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
I just wanted to see if he had his blue badge displayed on the dash.
Has it? And he's getting out of shape. He's pushing it. This is what happens. This is what happens when you try to come and race with nothing more than a 13mm spanner and a mallet. He's a privateer, shaking around now like he's all over the place. He's all over the place like a 105-year-old with Parkinson's. Oh my! He's gone off again. The car has been battered, but he's still going. It sounds like he's got engine problems. No question about that. Let's jump in the. He's coming into the pits now, and we're driving with Charger now. It's understeering everywhere. He's got engine problems. Oh, and he's into the wall. Why not? The wall's there. The wall's there. The wall is there. Why not?
I just had a sixth sense to view him.
You know what? Dear. Come on, Charger. Now, we all know that Charger's reactions are slowing down significantly. Oh, that's terrible. He's retired. And, there is a rumour that he's starting to look at Scrabble. There is a rumour that he's starting to look at Scrabble. Now, we're trying for him not to go over to board games. It's very important that we support our senior citizens.
Online chess?
Particularly Charger. Charger, well done. Let's move on. FX then. Where are you, FX? FX. FX in 5th place. FX very pleased with 5th place. I think we should. I think we should. Do you think it's possible whether we can ask whether we can have a chat with Charger? Do you think?
I'll see now. Oh, here he is.
Charger, how are you?
Yeah, I had that. I'm not going to play backgammon and fuck all, so no.
Well, no, I understand that, and I also, with all respect, know that the older you get, the more cantankerous and belligerent you can get, and I was just a little bit worried that that you weren't going to finish the race, and then all of a sudden that happened. We were looking for great things, but on a serious note, what happened?
Back end just went on that, on that left-hander before. There's a bit of a camber on that road, and I think I braked a bit too hard. The back end went, I couldn't hold it, hit the wall. I was trying to get back to the pits, and I managed to get back to the pits and hit the wall
Square on.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah, we did. We saw it.
Was dead.
Yeah, my left aorta collapsed as soon as we saw that. To be honest with you, but on a serious note, we're taking the piss, obviously. But on a serious note, Bathurst or Mount Panorama and that Cadillac, I'm assuming Comrade Straight and Mountain Straight is really where it comes into its own.
Yeah, it was really, I actually turned down the force feed. It was really heavy. I mean, really heavy.
Yeah.
And I lowered the force feedback, but it was throwing me around. Yeah, it really was. I asked Eddie if he felt it was boaty, but he said no, he'd done a few soften the bump stops and stuff, but I'd pretty much done nothing to it. A couple of this and that, but I had to get off the hards as soon as possible. They were awful.
Yeah. And were you feeling it as Rigel now comes in for his pit stop?
Yeah.
He'll be going on to softs now, which is good news. Keep an eye on him. But and through the mountain section, is that where you were really feeling it with regards to the grip of the car?
On the hards, yeah, it was just pushing its nose on every corner.
Yeah.
I got on the, I could tell the difference, massive difference between hard and soft. So I thought I need to get off these hards as soon as, because I was just going backwards on them.
Yeah.
Jorgen's just gone in the pits as well.
Yep, Jorgen's gone into the pits, and I've also noticed that Menacing Skull has also retired. So we've got 3 retirees. We've got Menacing Skull. We've got our very own Charger we're talking to in about. Stick around, Bill. I'd like to speak to you about a couple of events coming up. Charger also retired, but without shadow of doubt, the biggest news of this event so far. Lap 3. Bang. The leader out at the top of the S's. Mark Bean also retired, but again, I've got to say that probably, conversely, the best news out of this event, that man there, Pinpoint. This has been a really, really good event for him. He's still on softs. He hasn't pitted yet, but he's exploiting as much as he possibly can the speed and the confidence he's got in this car to really pull away as much as he can. He's got Audi and FX behind him, but they haven't pitted yet. The next threat is John D. John D, essentially will take first place. He's already pitted. Madley in 5th will essentially become 2nd in that time differential. Debatable whether Rigel will keep 3rd. Bill, next week we start a new league, DTM 2016. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, we're going to do a 6-week DTM using all of the German, the DTM calendar of 2019, apart from the first race, which is at Portimao, Portugal. And there will be ballast set after the first race, manufacturer and driver ballast that Speed's worked his magic on that I know cannot decipher.
It's a very, very simple formula. It's the amount of spiders you see in a 24-hour period times by the amount of legs they have, divided by cosine and tangent. Take away the amount of washing your wife's done over the past 6 weeks, divided by the amount of children you've got, equals the ballast that you take.
Oh, you worked it out then?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's essentially it.
Yeah, Speed's asking, can I explain it? No, I can't explain it. It's no. You get some weight. There you go.
Yeah. Yes, but go on, carry on. So the first round will be at Portimao, and where are you looking at going? Where are we looking at going after that?
I'm not actually sure on the full roster.
Let's have a look, see whether I can pull this up for everybody. Next league info. So, pull them out. Then we're going to go over to Zolder. Then we're going to go to the Euro Speedway, Lausitz.
Yeah.
And then on the 15th is Monza, I believe, and then the 22nd of February is Nurburgring, which is the fast chicane one, the extended chicane, and then it finishes off on the 29th of February at Hockenheim. So a 6-round DTM. Now, as you know, everyone's looking forward to that. And I just want to not take anything away from this race, but just very quickly, and again, give you a feeder here, and feel free to discuss this with Debug while I set some timings. But within a couple of hours of that opening up, 36 slots, bank taken up.
Yeah.
What do RWB members do if they haven't got a slot, or anyone else who wants to be part of that league who there are no slots left? What do they do, and how do they make it known that they want to be part of it?
Well, I mean, the league wasn't actually advertised outside of RWB, so anyone that's got a slot is either an RWB member or a member on Discord. So yeah,
someone. Hold on, who's that? Which has just crashed? Sorry.
Who was that? I believe that was that not Helmet?
Oh yeah,
it was Helmet. It was Helmet.
Okay, sorry for cutting in because
no, absolutely no. That's always precedent. But being challenged by FX quite rightly, but Helmet saying, well, you know what, we can go out on the outside and coming into the kink, but FX has got the inside into the chase, and he's got the legs as well. So that's a terrible
really
shame for Helmet.
If Helmet can't grab those back, currently right now John D is going to win this race.
Yeah. And if John D wins this race. If John D wins this race with the points of 45, with 42 going to Helmet, and only if he comes second.
Oh, Helmet will win the championship.
Yeah. If Helmet comes second, he will get 42 points, which will be enough. That will take him to 200.
But right now, it's changed again. Yeah, no, right now, John D is still going to win this championship unless Helmet starts climbing up. Anyway, sorry for interrupting. I just saw a crash and had to...
No. Oh, go on, and FX went wide there and scraped the near side coming into quarry there, and Helmet says, thanks, I'll take it back off you, going into the cut-in. Into the cut-in, around into Griffin's, named after, as we said earlier, Mayor Griffin, who started this track. Did you know you can drive around this track, Debug?
Yes, you certainly can.
Yeah, it's a normal public road, and it's even got its own police, and the speed limit is 60 miles an hour. This is only 3 miles or 3 k's away from Bathurst City, and it's a public road, two-way traffic, and when there's no racing or no main leagues or events on, then it's just open up. It's part of the public network, and actually either side of the track there's significant normalisation of life. Typical Antipodean brothers and sisters out there who just take on the unusual, but actually just accept it as usual. Down Mountain Straight, all the way down the left-hand side there is a winery. All the way at the top from Sulman Park, all the way through to pretty much the end of Skyline, all the way around there is a huge campsite. There's a swimming pool dotted around there somewhere as well. So life carries on outside of the track because the track is part of the life.
Yeah, and it's very much similar to something like, I don't know, the Nurburgring. I mean, they do things like events like Challenge Bathurst, which they'll do annually, and it's a 2-day experience. So it's a sprint activity or regular activities, and you can either do them in your street cars, your own cars you own, or track cars. So it's mad to think that you can take a normal car to Mount Panorama, it'll destroy it, absolutely destroy it. Do you imagine your micro on that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, quite, yeah.
Don't mention micros around rudders, you'll get it.
It's got a very strict 60 kilometres an hour speed limit around there, and apparently, I spent 20 minutes earlier on just looking at that alone, but apparently, if you get caught speeding around there purely because of the fact that it is one of Australia's most infamous event locations, it is really quite frowned upon, and the law is heavy on you. It will come down hard. It's not just a quick simple slap on the wrist. You'll end up with a significant fine and penalties and all sorts. So yeah, by all means, drive out from Bathurst City and enjoy the drive around Mount Panorama if you're out there. But be careful, because if you get caught speeding around there, you're going to get hammered.
Right, I've done
a winery on the left there. It's a big winery there. Big winery. And a church.
Workings. So just if John Dean can now keep first place, our good friend Helmet needs to get at least 5th place. 5th place will secure Helmet the championship win. But anything below 6th place will tie him for the championship. 7th place is a no-go. Wow. So Helmet's looking to get 5th place as long as John D can keep first. Great.
Okay. Now, right. Well, you look after that. Now, Charger. Earlier on, we mentioned about DTM 2016. There's a scoping exercise going on at the minute with regards to ACC. Why don't you talk to us about what's happening in the background there?
Yeah, just to go back to the DTM as well, that 6 week may be extended to 8 weeks. We're sort of hanging on the release of AMS2, so we didn't want to extend it into that release because it would be, we've discovered that in the past when a new sim drops, everyone wants to race it, so it would really eat into the DTM. So it might be an 8 week. It's 6 at the moment. But yeah, the ACC, we did the test last night. We did a bit of a test, and we've got a test race tomorrow.
Yes.
To see if it's viable for maybe a 4 week league, with a view to possibly doing an endurance on the ACC with driver swaps, if possible. That hasn't been tested yet.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I have to say the ACC side of things, they've done it. Look, overall they've done a great job, but it is a fair assessment to say that when it was released, it wasn't the smoothest of release, and there was all sorts of problems for all sorts of people. But you know what? Fair play, Kunos. I think you've got it to such a place now where, yes, there are still some issues, but you know what they are. And for the majority of people, I think it's turned out to be an absolutely wonderful sim. I mean, it looks gorgeous. It looks gorgeous, and it's pretty bloody good, isn't it?
It's tough to run. It looks gorgeous if you're not in VR. VR still struggles. I mean, it has took them 9 months to get to where they are, after release. They probably should have delayed the release, but, people wanted it. But, I think it was a bit of a shit show to start with. But I'm quite liking it now. I'm getting it dialed in. It always takes a while to dial a sim in.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, what can we take away from this? Well, ACC is now coming of age, and by that I don't mean maturity. I mean acceptance, and even those people who are hardcore VR are now taking a look on the flat screen on pancake mode to see whether actually it's sort of thing that they can buy into, and that is certainly happening. So if you're an RWB member and you've got ACC, but you play it or you use it, but outside of RWB time, because you know that it's not a sim that we sort of are championed, come back for the love of God, because we are starting to raise it up to that which it deserves to be, which is utilised by sim racing communities like us for leagues and endurance events or whatever. AMS2 around the corner, exciting times for sim racing. I spoke to someone the other day and they said it's a very niche, this is a very niche, a very niche hobby, very niche, as the Americans say. And I think that's just utter bollocks, to be honest with you. I don't think it's niche. If it was niche, there'd be one sim out there. You got Project Cars 2, Dirt Rally 2, AMS, AMS2, ACC, AC, R3E. I don't think there's ever been a better time to be into sim racing. And if you're not in it, get in it, because you can't win it unless you're in it.
I think that's people that compare sim racing to things like FPS games. It's going to be niche compared to those. Millions of people play those, I think sim racing is, I hate that word niche, but it is, it's a bit like flight sim. You wouldn't call that niche, but it is.
Yeah, I think niche in the electronic world and the gaming world almost means minority, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, yeah.
And the fact of the matter is you can be 5 years old and fire up COD and run around and probably kill somebody. But you know, try jumping into one of these cars and do a 20-minute race without stacking it into a wall. It takes real commitment and it takes real skill. That's what it takes. It takes real skill. This isn't a mouse and keyboard job. You know, you're using your feet, you're using your eyes, your hands, your steering wheel, your force feedback setup. So much of preparation goes into it before you've even started. Anyway,
I think being on PC makes it more niche. I mean, there's a lot of console racers out there, but you know, they're sitting on a couch with a thumbstick. It's very niche when you get into the rigs, the motion sims, you know, the wheels, the pedals, and that really sort of whittles it down to a minority.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to invest that sort of money into it.
Rigel now, Chief Trackmaster, riding with him as he's chasing down Pinpoint. While we were talking to Charger there about ACC and AMS coming to a shop near you, certainly coming to RWB and many other groups, no doubt about that. Of course, Pinpoint pitted, as we predicted. John D, who was the first. Look at that, interesting line. Rigel takes the wider line to get a better exit from Forest's elbow. And right all over Pinpoint like a nun in a cucumber, on it like a nun in a cucumber field. Look at that.
We said it would happen, didn't we? We said once Spinners has got those hards on, he's just going to struggle.
And we pretty much said it's going to be John D, Walby and Rigel, and it might be difficult whether Pinpoint keeps his third place. Rigel now right alongside into the chase, but Pinpoint still, you know, a little bit of a tuck there. Probably no need for that, to be honest with you. I don't think it was done intentionally, but very clear that Rigel was in front of him. That said, Rigel takes third place. Pinpoint now back into fourth place, but take nothing away from Pinpoint. He's had a great run so far, but you know, John D had a good strategy, and that was to pit when he did in order to come out and take first.
I'd imagine there'd be some team radio on the chat with Rigel there, because he'd have felt that little poke, no doubt. He'd have felt that little tiny. Hard racing though, and it's fair racing and good racing. Pinners did everything he needed to there. He stuck to his lines. He went on the defensive, so you can't blame him, and you can't blame him for being a little bit frustrated as well, because he'll know that those hard tyres have done him in for this first round of the race, and he'll just see Rigel gliding past him, so he'll be frustrated, no doubt.
So the Cadillac of Audi, the Corvette of FX, and the P345 of Ben Davis. I don't know what's happened to my race director there, but I think it's done its own thing at that specific moment in time. But FX now chasing Helmet.
Helmet took him. That was crucial. Helmet was right down in ninth.
Yes, he did. That was a crucial move, absolutely. As a result of all of that complex stuff that you were saying earlier on with regards to the points, absolutely. But remind me, so John D is first currently. That's where he wants to be. That's the best place. That's the best solution he could possibly have, John D.
Best one he can have right now. Puts him in 191 points. At the moment, Helmet, where he is, he will not get to that 191 points marker.
So where does Helmet need to finish in order to beat John D? Helmet currently third in the championship with 158 points. Where does Helmet need to get up to in order to challenge John D for winning of the championship?
Fifth.
Well, that's not impossible, I have to say. This is Helmet we're talking about with 6 minutes and 58 seconds left. I think the biggest problem is going to be Rick Binnersley. I don't think he's going to catch up to Rick Binnersley. I think even if Helmet takes Audi, he's not going to close up what is essentially let's ride with Helmet now. He's not going to catch up to Rick Binnersley. Rick Binnersley, let's go wide. So we're with Helmet there, and Rick Binnersley is there. So, Well, it's possible if Rick has an off, but one thing I do know of Rick is that he's in that upper margins of a middle runner and fairly consistent. You don't usually see him spin off for nothing. So
You know what?
I still think it's a hard run for Helmet.
I've got it wrong. I'm so sorry. I'm a point out. Helmet needs to get 6th. Sorry, Helmet needs to get. So if Helmet gets 6th, he gets.
So if Helmet gets in front of Audi and Rick Binnersley, he is then in contention to win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
it'd be a point difference. A point difference if he gets
1 point.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah. You know what? He's got the line there into the S's. Yeah, so Helmet now up into 7th place. Now he's looking at Rick Binnersley. On the wing with Rick Binnersley. No sign of Helmet right now. And, you know, for John D doesn't want it. But there is Helmet there. He's not that far behind. Riding with Helmet now. Chasing Rick Binnersley. There, that's what Helmet needs. Helmet needs to come in front of that man there, and he's got 5 minutes and 12 seconds to do it in order to win the championship, as you heard Debug, the super clever mathematician, worked out earlier on. I can't do it. I don't even know what one.
And Helmet's quicker than Rick as well.
And Helmet is quicker than Rick. So actually, this man here, fair play. He's going to win this race. It's a fair assessment. He's in 1st place. He's got no one touching him. Jorgen Woolsby, who's behind him in 2nd place, you know, coming towards the end of Mountain Straight. Well, you know, not even over the crest yet. So John D has got loads of time. Even if he finishes it, he can't win any more points than he's got right now, to be perfectly frank. He can't win any more points. But this man can. And he needs to, because he needs to get in front of that man there. Just gone on the other side of the crest. Just now, and look, that is certainly closer. Just now going into Quarry. And if I know one thing from watching Helmet, this is where he excels, on the tight, twisty stuff. He's quite confident. He's quite good with setups and coasts and lock settings, and too complicated for me. Which pedal does what? Which you even told me once. It was the middle pedal was the accelerator, and I believed you. But this guy knows his stuff with cars, and he's chasing now Rick Binnersley. I'm working out to be about 4 seconds behind him, as we just see Rick Binnersley there zip into McPhillamy now along Skyline. Brock's Skyline, of course, Peter Brock. Down into the S's.
Can we remember what position Helmet started?
I can't. No.
John D actually got 1st, so he gets 3 extra points, doesn't he?
Yeah, and there's also the fastest lap as well. So, guys, there is a little bit of ambiguity here. Ambiguity. There is a bit of ambiguity here, because we're talking about race points, and as you heard Debug said, there's one point in it if Helmet gets above that man there, Rick Binnersley. But you know, with 3 minutes left to go, is it feasible? Yes, it's feasible. Well, yes, it's possible. Is it feasible? Yes, it's feasible. Is it likely? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Even if he does come in front of him, there's still ambiguity, purely because of the fact that you know, the qualifying, there's points available for qualifying. 3 points to 1st, 2 points to 2nd, and 1 point to 3rd, and whoever gets the fastest lap is 1 point. If there's 1 point between between Helmet and John D, you know, that 1 point is significant. So, but I don't think Helmet will come in front of Rick, Debug.
No, I think he's gonna be pushing, and they're both on softs, both racing really well. You look at their lap times, comparable lap times. There's nothing in it. There's not enough to catch him, and as well, I think John D's got the 3 points to add on for his fastest quali, and he's got the fastest lap of this race as well, by the looks of things, possibly.
Yes.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, so well, there you go. Not writing it off yet. Anything could happen, but
just to add in, there is prizes tonight as well.
Ah, great! There's prizes tonight. We always like the prizes. RWB very generous with the prizes. Points to note: we never get any prizes. Commentators don't get prizes. Debug.
Everyone gets prizes. The only person that doesn't get prizes, the only one that doesn't get prizes is the person that picks it, which is me.
What are the prizes, Bill?
I can
Where's my
notify
prize?
you prizes. The prize.
My prize.
There's 2,000
Give me
VR.
give me a reach around. Give me a reach around, please.
There's three
That's
2,000
private channel. That's a private channel. That's not going live. Don't worry, Charge. No one will know.
There is three 2,000 VRP prizes up for grabs. The first prize will go to the winner. The second prize will go to most improved. And the third prize will go to the least incidents per hour.
That's not you then.
No, it's not me. It wouldn't be me anyway. I'm not in the prize. But they have to have completed 5 out of 6 races to be eligible for the prizes.
Okay. Well, look, we're in the last 34 seconds of this race. It's a fair assessment with John D out there. Coming through now what is essentially Griffin's Mount into Reed Park, you know, that he will cross the line. There won't be an additional lap. Meanwhile, earlier on we said Rick Binnersley and Helmet needing to come in front of Rick Binnersley. I still think, irrelevant of what we said, the points are, well, I mean, the points are going to be, it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. We're not going to be able to tell you on this stream who has definitely won. So there's only 2 ways that you're going to find out. Number 1, be in the stream team watch party afterwards. Number 2, come along to rwbracing.club, click on the Discord link, come to our Discord, and come race with us and find out who did win.
Well, I'll jump back up and I'll find out once we get the results posted up to Racer. I'll jump back down and tell you who's
John's
got the
definitely
prizes.
got it. John's
I
100% won this.
Yeah.
100% won the league because he's got points. He's got 4 points to add on to his 191 points. So
look at the distance, Debug. Look at the distance now between Helmet and Rick, and I'm just going to say this to you and just leave this with you. If Helmet didn't have that little bash earlier on,
exactly. Yeah.
That's
it would have
what I'm
been a hell of a lot closer.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's raced quality tonight. To be honest, it's one of the hardest tracks. It still takes me ages to get used to it because for the start you're thrown into this long straight, fast straight. Then all of a sudden you're weaving up and down, and it's so crucial that you know when to lift off, when you know when to brake. It is so crucial.
Look how close Helmet is now to Rick Binnersley, but just not close enough. We missed John D going over the line. Well done to John D. A race well won. A great strategy. 2nd place Rigel, 3rd place Pinpoint, 4th place Madley, 5th place Rick Binnersley, 6th Helmet. So close. 7th FX, 8th Jorgen Warby, 9th we're looking at now Audi just coming down, being challenged right to the very end by my future teammate Orange. Not sure what happened there. And Ben Davis now behind him in the P345, P12345, whatever it is. Horrible, ugly looking thing in my view. Rodders, who had that huge front end smash earlier on, finishing in 11th.
Again, is that what happened to him?
Yeah, he had a front end smash earlier on, and you know, this is the effect that ballast has. Really does mix it up. Miko Intenza in the Cadillac, crossing in 11th. Jorgen Warby in 12th. Flack, who we're riding with now in the other BMW, Mark Bean's partner, I believe, or in livery anyway, crossing the finish line in 14th. And then, of course, the 15th was Medicine Skull, who retired. 16th was Charger. 17th was Mark Bean.
Right, well, I'll be back in a sec.
That was the end of round 6 of the GT2 league. It's been a fantastic league, really, really good. The proof is in the pudding, I think, Debug. I mean, the points are so close at the end. Yeah. You know, we're in a position where we can't even call it. It's that clear. It's that close. So whilst I do an initial sort of, not close down, but initial sum up, perhaps you would get the guys together, give them a minute or so, and then bring them down who was 1st, 2nd and 3rd. That's John D, Warby and Rigel.
No worries.
Man of the match? Who do you think man of the match was? Driver of the event? I think it's got to be Pinpoint again.
Do you know what? I was going to say exactly the same thing because he raced an absolute stonking first half. Granted, he was on softs, but that hard tyre choice would have really mentally have fucked him, to be honest.
Yeah.
And getting and still putting in the effort, still putting in the defending, and still racing hard. I think he deserves it personally.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. But look, off you go. You go and get them, and I'll sort of do a medium sort of sum up. So there you go. That was the end of round 6 at Mount Panorama, Bathurst, the GT2 League. Been a lot of fun, this league there. Next week, we're going to be at our first one, Portimao, DTM 2016. The grid is full, 36. But there's still a possibility. There's still a reserve list. We know how these things happen. Real life kicks in, and sometimes we won't be able to get in there and actually do it. So if you want to be part of it, come along. RWBRacing.club. Click on the Discord. Get in. Hello. I'd like to race with you. How do I do it? Someone from RWB will point you in the right direction. Brilliant. We had a chat with Charger earlier on, who told us about, of course, ACC, some testing going on tomorrow, probably an endurance series for the race room, maybe looking at that also for ACC, and also, of course, AMS2 around the corner. And actually, there's probably never been a better time to be part of what is essentially looked upon as a niche, sort of niche simming and sim racing. Project Cars 2, Project Cars 1, Dirt Rally 1, Dirt Rally 2, Race Room, AC, ACC, AMS, AMS2 around the corner. Wow, you're all sport for choice. It's as simple as that. Right, great. Now, Debug is now bullying our friends into the channel as they all now start to line up. And let's remind ourselves, we had John D, who came first. There was Rigel, who came second, and Jorgen Warby, who came third. And again, for the second time on the bounce, was the racer of the event was Pinpoint. So I'm now going to hand you over to Debug for the end of race interviews. Debug, over to you.
Thank you very much. First of all, John D, spot on, buddy. Nice race. We've been following you and Helmet quite closely tonight because obviously it was you two pretty much racing for the championship, and you both had to get to certain points to get the top of that league tonight. So we'll soon see how you guys have done, and we'll have the official announcements. But we're pretty sure we know which way it's going. But John, your take on the race? How'd it go for you, strategy-wise? You seem to have nailed it. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I did quite a lot of testing during the day today. I done a fair bit of running on a track today to try to set up the car. How much wing to use, how should you have a rake, tire pressure, camber, all that sort of thing. And I figured I had about 40 minutes easily on the softs, and as normal, I chose to start on the hards. And opposed to last time, I chose to train or run a lot more on the hards before the race to get more comfortable on doing the track on the hards, and I was actually keeping up with people ahead quite good on the hards, and then I knew I was in pretty good shape. Bean was of course far ahead, but then he had an off, and then it was Rodders, and soon I was pretty much alone in the lead when everybody had pitted. So yeah, it was keep head down, trying to keep normal laps and avoid the big fuck up, basically, which Bathurst is all about, isn't it?
Absolutely, well done, mate. Big applause again. You did race really, really hard, really, really well. Right, second.
No,
you were
second.
You were third. Well, sorry, that's embarrassing. Sorry, Wolby. Jorgen, you had a pretty solid race tonight, mate. I'd say your race was pretty well balanced all night. I mean, we were watching you. You weren't too stressed. But nothing was really pressuring you too much. Some people in front of you had some real serious offs. I mean, Bean was one of the biggest ones, which we were watching. Rodders went as well. Helmet had an accident, but you were a pretty cool character tonight. Was the car feeling good for you? How did your race go?
Well, I'm a bit surprised that I ended at this high up in the race. I tried to just make the best of the race. I know that this is a race that is very, very demanding on yourself, not making mistakes, not so much doing the hot laps, doing the fast laps. Just be consistent and try to maintain pace, not wear out the tires too fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And you did a very good job of that tonight, because we saw what happened to the guys who pushed too hard. And it paid off for you. Second place, absolutely stunning. Rigel, sorry about that. Third place, mate. To be fair, you got to be happy with that, because it was a bit ropey at the beginning when we were watching. And to be third, I mean, you can't take too much away from that, can you, mate?
No, gained 5 places, so I'm quite happy with that. Unlike everybody else, I kind of flew by the seat of my pants a little bit. I only had maybe an hour's practice and a bit of tweaking. I was pretty close to default on that car, and it showed a little bit because I was lacking a little bit in the grip in the corner, so I had to have a slightly different line. But it didn't make a hell of a lot of difference. And, as Jürgen pointed out, it was about just being consistent. It was fun at the beginning. I think who was the head of the train? I think Helmet was actually holding up, well, not holding up, but he was the head of the train. He was the cork in the bottle. And a couple of them did have a moment, and a couple of us managed to steal past. I think I got past 2 people in one instant. I was quite comfortable. I managed to just eke a little bit away from Jürgen on the hard tyres, but when it came to the softs, he had the advantage. So it fell in his favour. So, but yeah, overall chuffed with third.
Excellent stuff. And Pinners, obviously, me and Tiger made you race for a match for one pure reason, and that is you obviously started off on the softs. You had an amazing start, got in first place. You held your own. You were consistent as well, and you were straight in front. And even though you had to pit on hards, and most people were on softs after that, you kept your head down, you kept playing at it, you kept defending nicely, and we were watching you, man, and it was a really, really, really good show. So, I mean, how was your race? I mean, you must have been mentally, for you, it must have been quite a struggle at the end, watching these guys on faster tyres trying to get you.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, look, led 13 laps, best consistency, led the heartbeat. When Rigel went past me, like, just hards were really hard to keep consistent as the softs. But holding Madley back for fourth was one of the highlights of the end of the race. But I loved every minute.
Excellent, man. Excellent. Right, I'll pass you over to Tiger again. I think we've got a good result. I was right.
Yeah, well done. And I do apologise, Jürgen. Quite rightly, you came second and Rigel came third. To be honest with you, Rigel usually comes second. So because he usually comes second, I automatically put him second.
My missus is quite happy with that.
No, well done. Listen, Charger. Well, that's what she told me anyway. Now, Charger said that he would drop in and tell us about the scores and the doors. Charger, are you in a position to be able to do that?
Well, Rodders can give the scores. I'll give you the prize parameters.
Wonderful. Rodders, over to you, please.
Cool. I'm going to go I'll read it out quite quickly for the top 10. So 10th place we had CSAM, 138. 9th place with 140, only 2 points ahead was Rick Binnersley. In 8th with 142 was FX. In 7th with 147 was Rigel. In 6th with 163 was Pinners. 5th with 168 was Jorgen Walby. In 4th with 179 was Brandon. 2 points ahead of him was Speed, Jake Moore, in 3rd. And the last two, there's only 4 points between them. In 2nd place on 190 is Helmet, and in 1st place with 194 is Mr. John D.
Well
done, John.
Virtual clap.
The race and the league.
Mate.
Yeah, and we said, didn't we, Debug, how close it was? You must be over the moon, John.
I had no idea.
Yeah, well, you now get a free holiday. Well, what you don't know, Charger's going to tell us, but I can't help myself. I've got to jump in there. What you don't know is the person that wins the league gets to clean this fucking commentary room out.
Yeah, that's a nice reward, isn't it?
That's a week's work, John.
Charger, over to you. What's the score with the prizes? I know we're going to put some prizes out.
Yeah, well, John came first, league winner. He gets 2,000 VIP. Well done, John.
Well done.
The second one is most improved, which goes to Pinpoint.
Well done, Pinners.
You're
Clap,
kidding.
clap.
Yeah, it's
Really?
you've done 5 out of 6 races. You've got to have done 5 out of 6 races. You qualified for it, and you were most improved. Yeah, you got 6th overall, didn't you? So well done.
I proper joked, mate.
Well, you can I just add something to that, if I may, not to ruin the tempo here, but not only are you the most improved, which is a statistics issue, but you've also been awarded, racer of the event on 2 occasions, and that's not because you're cuddly, that's because you're bloody great to watch. So, on a serious note, absolutely fantastic stuff to watch. Really, really great stuff, Pinpoint. Very well done.
Yep, and I'll just add, and also because the commentators like to break the rules and give you it twice, which is fine.
Sorry.
We'll let it slide.
I know, you're so right, Rodders. You're not supposed to do that, are we? It's the last race. Yeah.
I have to let it go for just, you're obviously very, very happy. He deserves it. So
that's 2,000 VIP pinners.
Thanks, I can't talk.
oh,
There's a first.
The third prize goes to the least car incidents per hour.
God.
Goes to me.
Rick Benizler.
Yes. grab hold of him. Bring him down.
Yeah, bring him down.
Switch on him.
Rick, sorry to pounce on you there. We're just going through the end of the stream, just going through some awards, and Charger has just mentioned the 3rd award. Charger, back over to you.
Yeah, Rick, you get the 3rd award for least collisions per hour. You had the lowest over the league, plus you did 5. You did at least 5 out of 6 races, so you win 2,000 VIP.
Oh, right. Thanks very much. Nice one. Cheers, guys.
Yeah,
you're very welcome.
Keep it clean. I think all the incidents you did have probably hit me.
Yeah. And pinners.
Yeah, excellent. All right.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, no, thanks very much. You're welcome to hang around, Rick. I know you was in the middle of a conversation and I pulled you in. In fact, you know what? You're welcome to stay in, or you're welcome to leave, or whatever. We're just going to sort of close the stream down. I'm going to give the stage again to Rodders. We've mentioned it several times tonight in an interview with Charger. We've got upcoming events, DTM 2016, all sorts of things. Rodders, please take the time now to have a bit of a stage and talk to us about, what we do know is happening, and perhaps the direction of RWB over the next, 6 months to a year. Exciting times ahead, right?
it is. Obviously, race room's still got plenty to give. Certainly from a league perspective, there's so many great cars deserve a good showing. ACC seems to be getting a lot better. I think we're really going to start experimenting with that. With a view to, you probably mentioned it, it's really an event racer, ACC. It's not a kind of jump in, have a few races kind of thing. But I think it could serve really, really well for that. And of course, we have a little issue of AMS2 on the horizon, which we're rather excited about. Mostly because we want to race it, but also because perversely people want it to be bad. So I have to eat my Formula Black wheel on camera, which I'm fairly confident won't happen. Otherwise, it's been a really busy period for us over Christmas. We're doing a lot of, I don't want to call it reorganisation. We're not really changing what we do, but we're just sharpening up how we do it a bit. And I think there's been a lot of chit chats and great discussions with the sort of the new steering group, and I think they'll continue. So we've got a bit of work cut out for us, but over the next sort of number of weeks, there'll be a lot of stuff coming out, and we've obviously, as you said, got the DTM League, which to keep us happy in the meantime. Which I think the DTMs are one of those cars. Every time we drive them, it's like, we should run a league in these. We should run a league in these, so we're finally doing it. So I think everyone's really excited about that.
Brilliant, wonderful. Thank you, Rodders. Charger, anything that you'd like to add before I close the stream?
No, I'm not going to play drafts.
Mahjong, I think it will be. Listen, look, it was a great series, wasn't it? DTM up soon. The GT2 League now finished. ACC around the corner. AMS around the corner. Loads of things, like Rodders has said, that's coming up. Be part of it, because if you're not in it, you can't be on it. You can't be on it. You can't win it, and all the rest of it. Yeah, well, I'm for one. I'm really looking forward to it. With my teammate who called me Fruity Tigers, I need to have a word with him about that. But so I'll be racing in the DTM 2016 as well as commentating with the new commentating rules. Debug, thank you very much for joining me tonight. It's always great to have someone to bounce off, and you brought a lot of stuff that I just couldn't have worked out tonight with points, and which was so close on. It was a great race, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic, and it was awesome to actually commentate on it because it did provide some real good entertainment tonight. As we were saying, John, we were literally trying to work out what kind of position a helmet had to be, and at one stage, you and helmet were going to draw for a championship. So it was really great. Really enjoyed it. I just want to say a quick thank you to all the admins and event organisers as always, because you guys put on great shows. You put on great tracks. Great staffing. Big thank you to Tiger as well, and thank you to all the racers in RWB that make it so entertaining and enjoyable for us all.
Oh, I'm welling up. We're all crying tonight, aren't we?
The commentators for doing a great job over the.
Well, thank you very much, old boy. We do it because we enjoy watching people like you just as much as you enjoy racing. It's an honour to do it, so thank you. Listen, just before I close down, I want to promote something that's going on right now. We've got our own Speed Demon, we've got CSAM, we've got Hayden McLaren and Brandon Dove in the 24 Hours of Daytona. Their current stream is live. They're 12 hours in now. They're over there. In fact, no, they're not. 8, 9, 10, 12 hours in. And they're currently in 10th place out of 19, and CSAM is driving at the minute. Do zip along to their stream and pop a note in their chat and offer their support. They've got a long way to go. Thanks very much for joining us. Join us next week, DTM 2016. From Debug and me, you know what we say, don't race alone, race RWB.